Jayson Tatum has been a beast since January. He's drawing double teams, became an all-star, but hold on, he's not perfect. Did you see the new tattoo? Yeah, that little apostrophe makes a big difference, doesn't it? But you know what? We'll let that slide because everyone is amazed right now by the superstar jump of Jayson Tatum. After the Lakers game in late February, LeBron called him an absolute problem on IG, but I was more impressed by this statement from Lakers coach Frank Vogel.
He's just one of the best players in the world. You know, I mean, he's in the All-Star game for a reason. He has the ability to go for what would have been a potential 50, 60-point night had we not, just brought extreme double teams for the the better part of the second half. And he's an excellent defender as well.
That is a gigantic compliment, but there was a quote even better than that or LeBron's IG post. It was from an NBA legend, and we'll get to that later in the video. And if Tatum is now, in just his third year, one of the best players in the world, like Vogel said, then don't just give Giannis and Milwaukee the East title. In this video, we'll look at exactly how Jayson Tatum has raised his game and how far the Celtics can go this year. Hey guys, it's Casey Kiernan, host of the AM Hoops YouTube channel. We're dropping 5 quality NBA videos Monday through Friday, always at 6 Eastern, always free. All I ask is that you hit subscribe. Also, hit me up on Twitter at Casey Kiernan and say what up on IG at AM Hoops. I mean, for as well as he's playing, it's hard to believe Jayson Tatum has only been in the league for 3 years. The Celtics had the first overall pick in 2017. It was a pick swap, actually, with Brooklyn. They got it as part of that massive KG and Paul Pierce trade. And here's how good Danny Ainge is as a GM. First, he made that trade, which set the Celtics up for their future. And in 2017, he traded out of that number 1 spot to number 3 so that Philly could take
Markelle Fultz from the University of Washington.
Yep. The Lakers then took Lonzo Ball, and Boston took Jayson Tatum. Ainge actually said at the time he could get as good a player at number 3 as he could at number 1. Of course, he was wrong. Jayson Tatum, obviously much better than Markelle Fultz. And he got the number 14 pick of this last draft, which turned into Romeo Langford. Now, it hasn't been all good for Jayson Tatum in Boston. He and really the entire team took a step back in his second year. And while the whole world wanted to blame Kyrie Irving for what went wrong in the locker room and on the court, Jayson Tatum will not. He and Kyrie had a special bond, both of them coming from Duke. Tatum says that Kyrie is his favorite player in the game today to watch. Kyrie even invited Tatum on a vacation to the Bahamas with him and Kevin Durant. So when all the drama was going down last year, Tatum said sometimes he felt stuck in the middle, both a young guy and super close with Kyrie. He said, quote, "Some of the guys may have resented my relationship with Kyrie, but nobody ever said anything to me. Kyrie and I are genuinely friends. Always will be, no matter what people think. If you're my friend, I'm always going to have your back, and so I had Kyrie's back." But Kyrie is gone this year, and it's a big reason for Tatum's jump on the court. This year, he has career highs, and listen to this: points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, deflections, free throws, threes, player efficiency rating, and rates for usage, rebounds, and assists. Talk about having a career year. My goodness. Basically, they're giving him more responsibility, and he's making the most of it. Even before Kyrie left in free agency, there was that playoff run that the C's made without Kyrie. It was Tatum's rookie year, but even then he showed signs of stardom as Boston went to the Eastern Conference Finals. So after that, when the Celtics had the chance to trade Tatum for an MVP-type player, they said no. Of course, I'm talking about Kawhi Leonard. Now, right now, Celtics fans might be a little angry hearing that. Yeah, looks like you could have had Kawhi and maybe another one of these. But who knows? At least it doesn't look that bad now because Jayson Tatum is playing like a legit superstar. And I mean a Kawhi Leonard type player, a dominant force on both ends. We already talked about his offensive improvement and all the career highs so far, but he's great on defense. According to a website called Nylon Calculus, Tatum is one of just 3 guys in the whole NBA to spend at least 19% of his defensive possessions guarding point guards, shooting guards, small forwards, and power forwards. Basically, he's one of those rare guys in the league who can guard every single position and guard it well. And of 400 plus players in the NBA, he is third in defensive real plus minus. And that brings us to that NBA legend we talked about who had high praise for Jayson Tatum. Tatum practiced with USA Basketball in China this summer, and coach Greg Popovich ripped him in a film session in front of everybody. Pop said, "Hey, I wish I could be you. Then I could just stand there in the corner with my 7-foot-long arms by my side and not move while players go past me." It's the kind of tough love coaching that Pop is famous for on the court and behind the scenes when he knows a player can take it. A few days later, he pulled Tatum to the side and he said, quote, "Do you know how special you can be? There are very few two-way players in our game, and you have the opportunity to be one of them. You could be like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George." That is why Pop gave him a hard time. He could see the superstar that Jayson Tatum would turn into. And now the rest of the world is seeing it. Earlier this year, there was a question of whether Jayson Tatum or Jaylen Brown should be the Celtics' second All-Star alongside Kemba Walker. Well, since then, Jayson Tatum has proved that the voters made the right choice. Now, at this point, a case can be made that Jayson Tatum is the MVP of the Celtics, not Kemba Walker. Yes, Kemba Walker runs the offense, and he has really filled in well in terms of a leadership role, but Tatum has grown into their go-to guy in the clutch. He can execute on both ends of the floor and against the highest competition. That is invaluable in the playoffs. The final 14 games before the All-Star break, he is putting up big numbers against good teams and defending the very best players. He had 39 points against the Clippers, an unforgettable performance, maybe the game of his career. Just 25 against Philly, but he killed them with improved handles and a variety of moves. And he was again at another level against the Lakers in LA. His 41 points tied a career high, and at 21 years old, he's the youngest player with a 40-point game in Celtics-Lakers history, including the playoffs. He's the first Celtic to score 40 or more in the rivalry since Paul Pierce in 2001, but he's the first player, period, to score 40 in the rivalry since Kobe Bryant in January 2011. And that is awesome considering the impact that Kobe had on Jayson Tatum as a basketball player. When Kobe passed, it seemed like every young player had some connection with the Black Mamba, but Tatum's ran deep. He called Kobe his hero and the reason he wanted to play basketball. Once he got in the league, Tatum started working with Kobe. And after Kobe passed, Tatum talked about why he was so inspirational.
It was everything. How hard he worked, his compassion, his drive, his work ethic to be the best. It just made me fall in love with him and the game. I loved everything about him and the way he carried himself. He was special.
Now, in year 2 for Tatum, it became almost a joke that he took so many long twos because of his work with Kobe. But now maybe Tatum has realized he's not exactly Kobe Bryant, so even that has changed this year. Look at these numbers of the percentage of shots he took from his rookie year to his second year to now his third year where he's taken this big jump. The analytics crowd will tell you that shots in the paint and from 3 are the best way to go, and sure enough, from years 2 to year 3, look at that. About a 10% drop in shots taken from the mid-range and about a 10% increase from 3. So if Tatum has reached superstardom and he can stay there, what does that mean now for the Celtics in the playoffs? Well, there was one sign that Tatum might not be ready just yet. He scored most of his points in LA in the second and third quarters. 36 points, in fact, during that time, going 11 for 15. In the fourth quarter, though, the Lakers started to double-team him on defense, and he was held to just 4 points on 1 of 3 shooting from the field. After the game, Brad Stevens basically said that it was good for Tatum to see these double teams because if he continues to play like this, he'll get a heavy dose of double teams in the playoffs. It's good practice. And so the real test of his new superstar status will come in the postseason. How can he impact a game even when the double teams come? Is Tatum able to overcome the extra attention? It didn't exactly work in LA as the Lakers won. Part of that, of course, was a few questionable calls and that big shot by LeBron James. And you give Tatum a pass for not having the same production in the fourth quarter. This is the first time he's seen these double teams. But if Tatum can keep reaching this superstar level this season, especially with his teammates and a healthy Kemba Walker, I think there's a real chance they make it to the NBA Finals and ruin a really great season for the Milwaukee Bucks. Support AM Hoops and click subscribe. Don't miss a daily NBA video.